There are objects in this world that seemingly hold dark entities or negative energies for seemingly no reason at all. Or perhaps the object belonged to a dark soul before they passed, and the soul hung on to the object, unable to let go of this world. But then, there are those objects that seemingly have an entity bound to it, bound on purpose by a person, for some unknown reason. Perhaps to trap it, perhaps to keep others safe from it. The word Dybbuk means just that. Welcome to Peculiar Occurrences. I am your host, Lilith Nova. Dybbuk is derived from a Hebrew word, meaning to stick or to cling. In Jewish mythology, it was usually referring to a malicious spirit, believed to be the dislocated soul of a dead person. It would possess people, causing mental illness and other such things. And then supposedly leaves the body once the spirit has been helped, or once it has accomplished its goal. These possessions often needed exorcisms in order to rid the person of the Dybbuk spirit. Many times, the spirit would be drawn out of the person and into one of these boxes. Many times right alongside objects they may have owned, or locks of their hair. At times, a lock of the dead's hair and a lock of the possessed hair. Again, if available. And there's a tale that's known as the Dybbuk box that has almost reached urban legend status on the internet. With one story in particular of a Dybbuk box. This story surrounds an old antique wine box that has a mysterious and peculiar past. There was a man named Kevin Manus. He had found the Dybbuk box at an estate sale in Oregon. And the box came with a spooky bit of lore and a peculiar history. The woman that sold the box to Manus had claimed that the box had belonged to her grandmother, who had been a Holocaust survivor from World War II. The grandmother had apparently been the only one in the family to survive the atrocity, and along with some other Holocaust survivors had managed to escape and make it to Spain, which is where she had acquired the box. When the grandmother immigrated to the United States, she brought the box with her. She instructed her granddaughter to never open the box, as it was claimed that it held a type of spirit called a Dybbuk, which had been accidentally summoned and imprisoned within the box long ago. Her grandmother had kept it put up in a sewing cabinet until the day she died. Despite the rather scary story, Manus bought the box anyways, intrigued by it. Then Manus, while still talking to the woman, realized this is a family heirloom and perhaps they just needed the money. So he actually offered to give them the box back and allow them to keep the money. The woman grew fearful and said, "No, we don't want it. It's yours now." At the time, Manus did not put much stock in the tale. Then he would soon realize that there may be more to this creepy legend than he could have ever imagined. Upon returning home, Manus decided he was going to break the rules and open the wine cabinet to find a very peculiar sort of items, including a wine goblet, a small granite slab with the Hebrew word shalom etched into it, a dried rosebud, a candlestick that looked like an octopus, like one of those octopus type candlesticks, 2 pennies from the 1920s, and strangest of all, 2 locks of human hair, bound by cords. Not long after this, on that very same day, peculiar things started to happen. Beginning with an incident when Manus left his shop to go on an errand, and came back to find the place ransacked as if someone had thrown a tantrum there. Yet nothing had been stolen. A terrified clerk at the shop also said she had seen light bulbs busting by themselves, and had heard what sounded like a disembodied voice cursing. As well, an isolated spot near the box was infused with the smell of jasmine flowers. Manus would say of the incident, and I quote, "When I got back to the shop, I went to investigate. I remember heading into the back and ran into what I could only describe as a wall of soot. It smelled like jasmine flowers. You could take one more step and you wouldn't smell a thing. Then take a step backward and be surrounded by the smell again." End quote. Manus then gave the box to his mother as a present, still not connecting the peculiar occurrence with it. And she allegedly suffered a stroke just 5 minutes after receiving the gift. Afterwards, it was said that all she could say was "evil gift," and gave it back. She survived the incident, but it partially blinded her. Things got even stranger when later that same day, FBI supposedly raided Manus' shop. They searched it and then took some electric gear without explanation or elaboration. The box was then given to Manus' sister, but she soon started complaining that there was some sort of feeling of dread when she was around it. She also said it would open on its own when no one was around. She also spoke of having peculiar nightmares of a scary old lady. And she soon gave the box back after only a few days. The box then passed to his brother and his brother's wife. The wife claimed that it smelled like cat urine, while the brother said it smelled like jasmine. Manus then tried to pass it off to his girlfriend and other friends, but yet each and every one of them would complain about it being evil and them getting eerie feelings, terrible nightmares of old hags, smells of jasmine, or smells of cat urine. Each one soon gave it back to Manus. A customer even bought the box from him and soon returned it, saying it was evil. Manus finally decided to hang on to it for the time being, but to put it in the basement. That night, Manus experienced what he described as some of the most potent nightmares he had ever had, in which he was stalked and attacked by a hunched-over old hag. He had these haunting nightmares, and they invaded his dreams for weeks. It was even said that they would invade the dreams of people who stayed over with him. Scarier still, he would go on to claim that when he awoke, he would find scratch marks, bite marks, bruises on his body. In addition to these nightmares, Manus would go on to claim that he would also see indistinct, shadowy figures wandering about his home. Guests reported this oddness as well, and it was all unsettling to say the least. Manus would soon become too spooked to keep it anymore, so he sold it on eBay, along with a full account on how it had come into his possession, along with its history and all of the peculiar phenomenon that came along with it. He would say in part of the description of the box, "I would destroy it in a second, but I really have no understanding of what I may or may not be dealing with. I am afraid, and I do mean afraid, that if I destroy the cabinet, then whatever came along with it will stay here with me. I have been told that there are people who shop on eBay who specifically look for these kinds of items and who understand these kinds of things. If you are one of these people, please buy this cabinet and do whatever it is you do with one of these things. Help! Exclamation mark. Okay, I can't pronounce this name at all, but I'll put it up. There is no getting around even trying to pronounce this name. I can't. But none of this detoured a buyer named I'll call him Loss from purchasing this in 2003. For the low price of $140, he got the creepy box and all of its containments. And apparently the evil spirit that inhabited it as well. Almost immediately after buying the box, Loss was plagued with all sorts of peculiar occurrences. Electronics in his house would malfunction or just simply cease to work. Honestly, I've had that happen. It sucks. Objects would become misplaced or simply move around, even with no one else around. As well as strange smells that would appear and disappear abruptly. And blurry spectral figures roaming about, so pretty much everything Manus had gone through. Oh, he also claimed that his hair began to fall out. And that he had a sudden insect infestation. This was enough to make him put the box up for sale on eBay, where it was purchased by a university museum curator and collector of religious paraphernalia named Jason Haxton of Kirksville, Missouri, who doesn't seem to have had much more luck with it. Haxton reported that he began to have health problems shortly after acquiring the box. An unexplainable welts, rashes, and hives. Consistent coughing and fatigue. With a metallic taste in his mouth. Persistent nasal problems. And even coughing up blood for no discernible reason. He also said that his house constantly smelled like either jasmine or cat urine. And for some reason, he also believed that the box reversed the aging process. Don't get why, though. He had the box tested by many people and hid it away for many years. Then he sold it to Zach Baggins of the show Paranormal Adventures, after it inspired a movie in 2012 called Possession. It now sits in Zach's museum in Vegas. But before he sold it, intrigued by religious artifacts, Haxton had it looked at by a specialist on Jewish artifacts, named Rebecca Edry, who determined it to be a sacred relic for imprisoning a spirit. She would say of the box, the two doors on the front open up just like the holy closet. Or Aaron Hackadish, there's a receptacle for Torah scrolls. And I saw round metal hoops on the inside of the doors that would have held scrolls. And that this particular size of box was used when going to comfort the family of the deceased. This, the insertion of the spirit into the box, was done deliberately for a specific purpose. End quote. So, putting together what we know about what we just heard Rebecca say about this religious artifact, and what we know about debunked spirits from the beginning of this video, it is my personal opinion that this box was supposed to hold the spirits of perhaps the family of this woman that had died in the Holocaust. Perhaps it was her way of holding on to their souls after having to leave them behind in the Holocaust. Or perhaps she felt or thought that she escaped due to being possessed by a Dybbuk spirit, and she was trying to rid herself of the Dybbuk spirits. Perhaps several Dybbuk spirits of her family members. But we will never know. Skeptics are very quick to point out this story holds very little verification, with some of the previous owners, such as Loss, who is practically impossible to track down, meaning there is no guarantee that Loss was even a real person. And the original owner of the box, Manus, was also an aspiring writer which has also raised some eyebrows, and the theory that this could have all been a hoax. In this theory, the story started out as just a story to get a buyer interested, and was later built upon by later buyers of the box. Then there's the usual argument that being told that this item is cursed will make one blame anything bad that happens to them on the cursed object, regardless of if it really had anything to do with it or not. While it seems a mysterious Dybbuk box is a very real object, it seems whether or not this box is truly haunted or just wrapped up in a tall tale is up for debate. But I don't know. What do you think about this peculiar occurrence? Do you believe in debunked spirits? Have you ever heard of the Dybbuk box? Let me know down below. And while you're down there, be sure to check the description box for your peculiar occurrence merch. And as always, hit that like button if you want to see more videos like this. Share this out to all your peculiar friends. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to become one of my peculiar squad. And don't forget to hit that bell, or YouTube won't even tell you when I upload. And until next time, keep your eyes peeled for all things peculiar. Do 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 do.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.